Hi, I'm Gina Ventola, practice manager for Ventola Law. One of the best parts of my job is meeting with business owners. However, at times, it can be difficult to meet in person. That's why I started this show, to introduce you to local business owners in our community. Join me on Your Virtual Coffee, a new kind of networking. Hey everybody, welcome to Your Virtual Coffee, the web show that introduces you to great local businesses in the Denver metro area. Today, my guest is Dan the Man Levitt. He is Vice President of Sales with Achievement Dynamics, a high-performance Salesforce development company, and an authorized Sandler Training Center. Dan works with entrepreneurs and business leaders who are visionaries and want their teams to sell more effectively while enjoying the sales process and much more. Their programs impact the bottom line by working with the behaviors, attitudes, and techniques to take your team to the top. And with that introduction, Dan, welcome to my show.
Hey, thanks, Gina. It's my pleasure to be participating today.
I've been really looking forward to this because my audience doesn't know, but Dan and I go back a few years and he's really good at what he does. So you guys sit back because you're going to learn a lot because he's a great teacher. So
Thanks,
first, Dan, we tend to like to do business with people we like and we know and we trust. So with that, I'd like to take a couple minutes to get to know, for our audience, to get to know you a little bit.
Good.
Now, I know you're a native Coloradan, but what was your favorite subject in school?
Wow, Gina, I don't know if this counts, but I was really good at PE, but I don't think that counts. So I'm going to have to go with geography, really studying the different parts of the world.
Wow. Now, what specifically about geography appealed to you?
Just the different, it's like the U.S., it's so many different regions in our country that are so vastly different. And then, the different parts of the world. And just, I'm a big animal lover. So I really like to learn about all types of animals and, the geographies, the physical attributes of the different parts of countries, or it's probably one of the reasons why I like to travel so much.
So would travel and animals and those types of things, are those some of your hobbies?
Well, yeah, I'm a very non-fictional person when it comes to reading and movies and so documentaries. I love things like that. My hobbies are, you're right, travel is big. I'm a really big sports fan. I love all types of sports. We're lucky in Denver to have 4 major league sports teams. I like to golf when I get the time, and I also enjoy movies.
Now, you mentioned that you liked nonfiction type of thing. Are there particular documentaries or genre of documentaries that you like?
Yeah, I like history. I like biographical documentaries. A little bit into social criminal justice type documentaries really fascinate me. And, then again, I love to read sports biographies as well.
Okay. So would those social and criminal type documentaries, would that fall into true crime? Would that be?
Yeah, true crimes. Yeah.
You and I will have to talk because we like a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe have to set up a Zoom call where we just watch a documentary.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, to me, it doesn't get better than a good Ken Burns documentary, whether it be on the Civil War, whether it be on.
Love Ken Burns.
One of my favorites is the one he did on Prohibition. which is short. It's only 3 episodes, and just really informative. Okay.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So what about sales training gets you excited? Like you just get out of bed and said, hey, I'm going to make this happen today.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, big picture view, I really have a passion to provide my clients with the tools that allow them to achieve more success in their business, more success in sales, which when they're realizing that, it really has a positive impact on their personal goals and aspirations as well. You know, Gina, when we attend schools, universities, colleges, most of them have limited or no sales courses at all. And, you know, we train marketing, finance, accounting, business law, management, IT. There's no sales skills training in our universities. And then when we get, you know, we get out of school and we talk to business owners about really what is their biggest concern. It's them growing their revenue. But yet we don't really facilitate that in our universities. So what I feel is the days of just showing up and winging it when we're in front of prospects, it really doesn't do either party any good, okay? When we have to convince or persuade prospects to buy our products, that's really difficult for the salesperson, and it's uncomfortable for the prospect as well. So, you know, what I want to do is help people learn sales in a more consultative, problem-solving way. And it's about asking good questions to identify, you know, does the prospect have a compelling need, you know, for my products or services? And if they don't, that's okay. You know, they shouldn't feel uncomfortable telling us no. So I have a passion helping people create those processes.
Do you think that it should feel like it's not selling? I mean, if you talk to someone, I think the term that I hear used a lot is pain point, where business owner or, you know, a business has a problem that's becoming a source of pain. It's hurting the company.
Yes. Yes, I love that. I love, and you're right. Sales, when I hear selling, we're not selling, sales, for most Americans, it's a negative connotation. It's that convince, persuade world. I don't like it. You know, people don't buy because you try and persuade or convince. They buy because they have a compelling need. And what we're doing is communications in Sandler. It's how do you ask good questions? How do you follow a process where you identify, is there a compelling need with my prospect? Can I help them with that need? Do they have a budget that fits my world? And who's in the decision process that I need to be in front of? And when I clearly clarify those 3 areas, I've qualified a prospect. And then I can help them solve their problems. And to me, that's what sales is. It's solving problems, it's building long-term relationships, it's strategic partnerships with my clients. And you mentioned something that was very important, a pain indicator. Okay, pain indicators, traditional salespeople take and run with. Dan, I need your help, revenues are down. Okay, traditional sales takes that and says, great, let me tell you all the things I can do to help. And a pain indicator is just where we start and we ask questions to really identify what does that mean. So I'm going to say, if somebody says to me, Dan, I really need your help, revenues are down, you know, I'm going to say, hey, you know, Gene, I can probably help you. Don't know for sure. Tell me what's going on. You know, how long has that been going on? Have you tried to fix it? Curious, let's say we don't fix it, 12 months go by. What will that mean? So I can clearly understand what is happening in their world. And am I a fit?
It sounds like part of what the appeal of achievement dynamics is that kind of separates it from other sales trainer, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you take the time to kind of understand the problem and maybe do some investigation as to why it's happening. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely. To find out, people buy because of an emotional need. It's emotional pain or gain. A gain is somebody buying a Ferrari. I don't think many people need a Ferrari, but they might have that gain in it, and it might be, compelling. Most of the time, 80% people buy because there's a compelling need and there's an emotional attachment. If I don't solve this, I could lose my job. If I don't solve this, we could lose $500,000. And when we identify those things, sales becomes so much easier. And it's all about questioning your prospect, building a rapport, trust, and then going through a series of questions to identify, are they a good fit for you? Are you a good fit for them?
I've attended some of your training, and for my audience, if you haven't, sign up today, because Dan is very, very good at his job. And the one thing I like that you bring to it is that you have the courage to say, and if it's not a good fit, is it okay for you to tell me? If it's not a good fit for me, is it okay for me to tell you? And I've always respected that, because like you mentioned earlier, you talked about sales having that negative association with it. And I think a lot of it is the colloquial, pushy, like used car salesman, for lack of a better example. And that is nothing like what you and Achievement Dynamics offers. And I just want to make that really, really clear to my audience out there. It's night and day. And one of the big things, in my opinion, that separates you, and I'll let you elaborate on this, is the willingness to walk away if it's not a good fit.
Well, that's really important, because most salespeople waste 30 or 40% of their time chasing suspects. And suspects are people that are afraid to tell us no. There's a lot of people that are just afraid to tell us, hey, Dan, thanks for coming by. There's really no interest, So they tell us things like, hey, I love what you have. Call me in a week, okay? And then we chase them, and we don't connect with them, or, we spend 3 months trying to get a hold of them. And or there's another reason why people are afraid to tell us no. It's they might want more information about our products and services at a later time. Okay, 2 reasons why people are afraid to tell us no. In sales, no is okay. It's the second best answer. Okay, but you want to hear it early. You don't want to hear it 3 weeks after working with somebody. You should learn it on the first call. Is there a potential fit here? If there is, great, we'll schedule the next meeting. If there isn't a fit and I can't help you, I'm going to share that with you, and I hope it's all right. And likewise, if it's not what you're looking for, I want you to feel really comfortable telling me no. We'll still be friends. Okay, but no is okay.
And this is so foreign to what we normally encounter in the sales world. And so I think that is really impressive of both you, Dan, and the business model of Achievement Dynamics, is to kind of take that position.
Well, yeah, that's fundamental to Sandler, the methodology.
Mm-hmm. What would be the one thing you would like potential clients to know about Achievement Dynamics?
Well, Gina, for business leaders or of sales teams, or even individuals who have a commitment to learn and grow their sales skills, no matter what level they're at, doesn't matter. In working with us, you're going to significantly improve your team or your individual sales success. And Gina, our clients tell us that, they increase their revenues a minimum of 30% by using Sandler processes in their day-to-day world of sales. So it's substantial when you talk about skill sets that salespeople use for 15, 20 years in their career. It's significant.
You brought up a point a few minutes ago about how in colleges and universities, they don't generally teach sales.
Right.
Or how to sell. I'm going to double down on an industry specific question. In the legal field, they teach attorneys how to think and how to write, but they don't generally teach them how to run their business, and they definitely don't teach them how to
Right.
sell, other than telling attorneys what they can't do, such as cold calling, such as soliciting. Well, soliciting to someone you know has a specific need, I guess would be the better way, because I'm not talking about the people on TV, because that's soliciting to the general public, and that's okay.
Right.
How do you bridge those industries that kind of put, for lack of a better term, the handcuffs on someone who's trying to sell their service? And I'm going to leave it at service-based industries.
That's a great question. I think, my favorite story is legal or accounting, CPAs. My favorite story is, hey, we bring you into the office, tell you you're a partner, good and bad news. One is you're a partner, the bad news is you got to bring in new business development. And we don't have, most of those people never really have the design or concepts or process to drive that. They don't want to be salespeople, okay? So I always have to talk to legal folks as new business development. Okay, we're going to do new business development. And really, it's the same thing as when we get a new client and we start our process. It's the same type of questions. It's, tell me what happened. How did that make you feel? How significant was that in your business? I mean, we're having similar type questions. It might be a lot of large law firms, it's cross-selling their different departmental areas with existing clients. It's how do you have a conversation when you're talking to somebody in one area of their field and you bring in some other ideas that are different areas in the firm to be aware of. If you ever run into those kinds of issues, we're happy to have a conversation and further discuss to see if there's even a fit. So it's giving those folks, just as salespeople, the concepts to follow a process that's more about discovering. And it's really communication. It's asking good questions. How do you ask questions without making the other person feel uncomfortable? And there's a real art to that. You and I have talked a little bit about that at different times. So I love working with those areas. I call them non-selling professionals, legal, CPAs, engineers, okay? And it's how do you ask good questions to discover? And how do you suggest things that might be problematic in their world? Don't know if any of these are happening. And if they're not, it's okay to share that with me. Or does any of that resonate in your world? Worth a conversation. Those are the kind of things we use.
Dan, let's talk about power partners. And for our audience, power partners are those people, those businesses who target your ideal client but are not your competition. One example I use is a hairstylist and a personal trainer. They both tend to target people who, quite honestly, want to look good. And so by building a relationship, they can refer clients back and forth to each other. It's kind of a win-win-win.
Yep.
So with that ridiculous explanation, Dan, who is Achievement Dynamics' ideal client?
Great question. There's so many people that can benefit from sales training at all levels of sales. And so, but here's one of the things I say. I mean, most salespeople, I like to say, here's where you are, here's where you could be, and what's that gap? What's the value of that gap? to you personally over the rest of your career in sales. And typically it's pretty significant. 95% of the people I meet can be better at sales. Okay, so an ideal client for me is a business leader or an individual that recognizes they could be better. They internally recognize that. They want to be better and they commit to being better. They want to grow their team's sales skills. They want to individually be better and more comfortable in the sales world. And they're willing to invest the time or the resources, time and money to achieve that. And those are great clients for me. I mean, people that recognize they could be better, are committed to being better, and ready to get started.
For other businesses who target the same ideal client, I'm thinking it's helpful if you have a staff, meaning like salespeople, sales staff. So I'm thinking maybe staffing firms might target the same client. Would that be?
Yeah, I mean, let me add one thing to my previous answer because it probably wasn't fair. All types of industries fit our ideal client, okay?
Right, you're industry agnostic, right?
Right. If people tell you, hey, I really like what you have, call me next Wednesday, and they don't respond to your calls and your emails, chances are we can help. And that goes on pretty much in most industries. For real strategic partners, I look at 1 degree or 2 degrees removed from my world. So 1 degree strategic partners are marketing, lead gen, SEOs, okay? Because they're not effective if they're turning leads over to a company, but the company doesn't know how to close those leads, qualify those leads, then it looks bad on the marketing organization. So I think we're really tied together there. CRM, software, contact management, software organizations, or consultants that work with CRM, sales enablement. And then you get into second degree, like business consultants, CPAs, people that are working with the executive team. And the executives are saying, we're struggling on the revenue side. Okay, they're having those same conversations that we're having. And so potentially HR and the PEO firms, professional employment organizations, I don't think it's fair to use acronyms. Those are good strategic partners for us as well. But typically, and then when you get into a general pool, it's the people that are calling on the executive team. Because it's an easy conversation. How are you doing? How's the business going? Well, the sales team, it's mysterious what's going on back there. Okay, and that's in a lot of businesses. It doesn't have to be that way.
I kind of like how you broke that out where you had different layers or different levels for power partners, because I hadn't thought about marketing in the way that you described it, as far as if they're generating leads and the company's unable to close for whatever reason, it could reflect poorly on the marketing company.
Right.
And also a lot of people kind of conflate sales and marketing into one bucket.
Right.
And they're two buckets. I mean, I've heard it explained one way that marketing's the sizzle and sales is the steak. Or that incredible line from Glenn Ross, always be closing. Sales people close. Marketing people get you there, but they don't close. Would that be accurate?
Well, the marketing and sales team should be on the same track. They should have the same types of goals. And one thing about Glenn Ross that I have to clarify from a Sandler perspective, ABCs of sales is always be closing. We say ABQ, always be qualifying. Okay.
How about ABC, always be curious?
Well, that's a good one. Okay. But it's qualifying and because again, ABCs are trying to sell somebody, you pushy, You're trying to convince, you're trying to persuade. That's hard. I don't believe in that. It doesn't have to be that way. There's plenty of salespeople that are killing it out there by qualifying their prospects and really understanding what's important to them, not what I think they need, you know? So I hope that answered your question. Did I leave something out?
No, I actually think you did clarify that. And for our audience, please don't think that either Dan or I endorse Glengarry Glen Ross for their sales techniques. Just like there's a lot of movies out there that know law firm that portray lawyers, and no, those aren't very accurate either. But they have that, always be closing. And in fact, in my personal opinion, I think they do everything wrong in that movie because their emphasis is in the wrong place.
Right. It's at the end. It's at the end as opposed to the beginning. When people tell me, Dan, we're getting a lot of leads, we're doing everything right, we're just not closing, it tells me the beginning of the process is flawed. Okay. They're not qualifying. Okay. Because qualified prospects they're fun to work with. They're easy. You can solve their problems. They want your help and they will naturally close. Okay. The ones that are hard to close are the ones that are suspect.
Yeah.
Okay? And they really don't need your products. There's no compelling need.
And that's where, as you explained, being curious, qualifying those people, that's where that comes in. And some of the, and some of the things that you're discussing, I'm currently reading The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team again. And if there are any business owners out there who's watching this, that's a great book. And this is one of the big topics in the book, is this what we're discussing right now, as far as where are things breaking in the process.
Right.
And it's a fascinating book and I highly recommend it.
Yeah, great.
So with that being said, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Well, the best way is to give me a call or text directly at any time. I'm pretty, my business is important to my world. My cell is 303-829-2107. And so you can call or text me, or you can send me an email, dan.levitt, Levitt, @sandler.com. And, one thing I want to say is, if you do reach out to me, all we're going to do is have a conversation. You're going to tell me about your world. I'll share some ideas with you, and we'll figure out if there's even any real synergy in doing something next. So.
I think that's great. Any last thoughts for our viewers?
Well, I think one thing I'd like to leave you with, Gina, is first, and I really appreciate you interviewing me. Sales professionals, they really understand that we're never as good as we could be. And I feel like sales, as I've done the work I have with Sandler, sales is a profession. That's why they say doctors are practicing, because they're always getting better, or lawyers. It's the same with sales. We're always getting better. And the experience allows us to grow and become more successful. But if you let yourself continue to learn and grow, you're going to continue to grow. A lot of times people get to a point where they plateau, they stop learning, and they're just comfortable. And that's okay. But, it's a world where I've heard that, I heard that in my 30s. Don't ever allow yourself to just be comfortable. But it happens. And there's people that are just comfortable. But if you're not in that world and you want to get better and better and better and thrive for new challenges and ideas, then you're going to kill it. You're going to kill it everything.
You've actually kind of hit on something I've been debating about writing an article about. Believe it or not, in the song Rapper's Delight, which is a really old song, they have this line about one of the guys who says his father tells him, I'm going to give you some advice. never let another MC steal your rhyme, which is a different version of what you just said. You always want to be the better one. How do you get better? You practice. How do you practice? You keep working at it. And I appreciate that, because I think in many areas of your life, I tend to think of it as, in my world, you never let another lawyer outsmart you. You never, in someone else's field, you never let an accountant, out, number you, or whatever, whatever that is.
Right.
Always be moving forward progress. And so I love that you elaborated on that. So thank you, Dan.
I mean, in our client base, we have people that are fairly new to sales, 3 or 4 years. We have people that have been selling for 20 years, and they just want to get better. And, it's amazing what we can do in their world. So.
Well, thank you, Dan. For you guys, when this video comes out, there will be 2 slides at the end, one for how to contact Dan, and one with his ideal client and his professional partners. And so if you fit any of those, or if you have a job as a salesperson and you're like, yeah, I need some help, call Dan. He is really, really good at what he does. And so, Dan, thank you for coming on my show today.
Gina, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
To my viewers, thank you so much for joining us today. We could not do this show without you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And business owners, hey, let's have some coffee and talk. Have a great day. Your Virtual Coffee is sponsored by Ventola Law. Ventola Law, mediation and legal representation at an expert level. You can find them at ventolalaw.com. Thanks for joining me today. For more information on Your Virtual Coffee, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wait for it, our website at yourvirtualcoffee.com. Thanks again for watching, and have an incredible day.